Building a successful career is like, it's often like constructing a billion-dollar theme park. You put in the rides and the flashing lights and, everyone loves it. But what happens when you realize you're permanently trapped inside the mascot suit?
Yeah, that's a terrifying thought.
Right. Well, today we are doing a custom deep dive for you into a guy who actually managed to claw his way out of that suit. We're talking about Jim Carrey.
Exactly. We are looking at how the ultimate rubber-faced slapstick icon deliberately dismantled his own brand, to become a philosopher, a novelist, and a painter.
It's such a wild pivot.
It really is. And looking back at his historic 1994 cinematic run, dominated the box office with Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber all in a single year.
Which is just insane.
Totally insane. It's easy to assume that kinetic energy was just raw, natural talent. But the fuel for that engine was pure survival.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because that makes a lot of sense when you look at his childhood in Ontario. It was defined by extreme poverty, right?
Yeah, absolutely extreme. By 16, he had to drop out of high school.
Wow.
Yeah, he had to work as a factory janitor just to keep his family afloat. And that famous rubber face he's known for, it didn't start on a stage.
Right, he perfected it in the mirror as an 8-year-old. Like, he was trying to pacify his chronically ill, bedridden mother. Was his extreme physical comedy actually a psychological defense mechanism? Like a squid shooting ink to distract from a grim reality?
That is a great way to put it. When you're a child in that environment, you have zero control over the crushing economic or, medical realities around you.
It's helpless.
Exactly. The only thing Carrey could control was his own body. Contorting his face was a survival mechanism. It was a way to force a laugh and instantly change the emotional temperature of a grim room.
But that volume dial eventually got stuck, didn't it?
It did. The physical exertion that saved him as a kid, well, it became physically torturous as an adult. By the time he shot The Grinch in 2000, he described the heavy latex prosthetic makeup as excruciating.
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, he compared the daily application to being buried alive.
So maintaining that frantic persona became completely unsustainable for him. He had to deliberately tear down his own multi-million-dollar comedic brand just to breathe.
Right, which is why he pivoted to heavy existential prestige dramas, films like The Truman Show and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
He realized the limits of perpetual slapstick.
Exactly. But, acting in dramatic films still meant playing a role within a massive studio apparatus. So in 2020, he took it a massive step further.
Oh, you mean the novel?
Yes. He co-authored the surrealist novel, Memoirs and Misinformation. It's autofiction, meaning he wrote a story where Jim Carrey, the actor, is a character, and then he subjects that character to the literal apocalypse.
Wow, so a literary way to kill off his own Hollywood ego on the page. But here's where it gets really interesting, and I have to push back a bit.
Go for it.
He writes an entire 272-page novel about how empty celebrity is. Wait, isn't that just a different flavor of ego? I mean, he even called it an addiction to relevance. Is writing an entire novel about the emptiness of celebrity just another symptom of that addiction?
That is a completely valid question. And Carrey actually admitted he used the book to confront that exact fear of personal erasure.
Oh, so he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, while it critiques Hollywood privilege, it functioned as a psychological purge. He needed a medium where he didn't have to rely on the collaborative, highly compromising Hollywood machine to express his internal state.
But even a novel requires a publisher, right? An editor, a marketing machine. To find absolute uncompromised control, he eventually retreated to a blank canvas.
Which brings us to his visual arts era.
Mm-hmm.
It is completely fascinating because it's so contradictory. He uses the canvas as both a sanctuary and a battleground.
Right, because he paints intensely vibrant spiritual pieces to find personal stillness.
Yes, but then he also draws these visceral, aggressive political cartoons. He targets authoritarians and politicians to process global chaos.
And just as a quick note for everyone listening, we are impartially reporting on the fact that he makes these political cartoons. We are definitely not endorsing any specific political viewpoints here, just trying to convey the ideas in his art.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Just discussing the source material. And that contradiction spills right back into his career. In 2022, he formally announced his retirement, saying, "I have enough."
Right. He reportedly turned down massive scripts to stay in his art studio.
But then, 2 years later, he gleefully signs on to play Dr. Robotnik in Sonic 3.
I love that. He bluntly admitted, I bought a lot of stuff and I need the money. It's so honest.
It really is.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the 2026 César Awards in Paris. The frantic comedian aesthetic was completely gone.
He looked totally different.
Totally. He debuted elegant shoulder-length hair, delivered an emotional speech in fluent French, and publicly introduced his partner, Min-Ah.
Wow.
Yeah, projecting the aura of an elder statesman of the arts who has finally found familial contentment.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Can someone achieve true Zen at an art easel while still cashing massive corporate franchise checks?
I think Carrey's evolution proves that your greatest talent can also become your biggest prison. True freedom isn't about achieving a singular, static version of success.
It's about having the courage to abandon the very persona that made you successful in the first place.
Right, while still navigating the commercial realities of life.
Which just goes to show you are never trapped by your initial success. Reinvention is always an option at any stage. Which leaves us with this final thought for you to explore on your own.
Oh, this is a good one.
If you were forced to completely abandon the one skill you are most praised for today, what hidden, entirely different part of yourself would you cultivate tomorrow? Would you finally step out of that mascot suit and build a completely new park?